Ladies and gentlemen, PACT's 2023 Capital Conference Lions Den is about to begin. Please welcome Betsy Roth, Managing Director of Emerging Growth and Regional Coverage, Bank of America.
Thank you. Welcome to Lions Den. My name is Betsy Rath, here with Bank of America, and I'm also a PACT board member. We were proud sponsors today of the breakfast sessions and the networking sessions, and thrilled to be here. Now I will introduce our next presenters, which are Mike Crossy and Chris McDemus from Cozen & O'Connor.
Hi, I'm Mike Crossy, and with my partner Chris McDemus, we're the co-chairs of the Emerging Business and Venture Capital Group at Cozen O'Connor. Our partner Ira Gubernick had always introduced the Lions Den on behalf of PACT and Cozen O'Connor, and he was brave enough to pass the torch to us, and I think Chris and I realized it would take two of us to do that.
So look, as many of you know, Cozen and NewSpring were the original drivers behind the Lions Den, and we take great pride in that. And we take great pride in our sponsorship history with PACT and being a sponsor of the Lions Den. And so we just want to thank Dean and everybody at PACT for putting this together and all the effort that they put into it. Mike and I probably have a combined experience of like 50 years in this space, and Cozen really embodies our passion for emerging growth. And you know, the firm has 850 attorneys, over 30 offices. We serve emerging clients nationally. Both through our Emerging Business and Venture Capital Group, as well as our tech transactions and privacy and the rest of the subject matter areas that clients like that use. We're very excited about this year's Lions Den. We got some great companies, so I say let's get things going. Why don't we cue the video?
Welcome to the Lions Den, PACT's Lions Den.
Don't be vague. Don't not answer the question by being vague.
Do keep your presentation concise. Don't assume we know anything about your product, your marketplace, or your unit economics.
I definitely want to hear a story that's backed up by data and metrics.
Please present enthusiasm, uniqueness of your product or service, and potential to build a substantial company.
Transparent.
Our lions are on the hunt for the next big idea.
The Lions Den represents what I believe to be the best in the entrepreneurial spirit. The Lions are successful entrepreneurs and business builders themselves who are now in position to give back and invest in the next generation of entrepreneurs. Take advantage of this.
Now it's time to find the next big idea. Are you ready? Ready to enter the Lions Den. PACT's Lions Den. Meet our lions. David Edelman, founder of Darko Capital and CEO of Campus Apartments. Michael DiPiano, managing general partner and co-founder, NewSpring Capital. Ira Lubert, co-founder, Independence Capital Partners and partner, LLR Partners. John Martison, Chairman, Martison Ventures. Sylvester Mobley, Managing Partner, Lanesight Capital. And moderator, Mark R. Lederman, General Partner, NewSpring Capital.
Don't BS us. We'll see right through it. Good luck.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming to the capstone session here of the PACT conference. This is our 8th year doing the Lions Den, and I'm as excited as I was the first year. This is really, the reason it's the capstone is that, in my mind, it's the best session we have here at the conference. As you likely know, 45 companies presented throughout today, but 3 were invited and selected to enter the Lion's Den. Our Lions will each be provided a brief overview of the company by the 3 selected entrepreneurs. Each of the entrepreneurs will speak for about 8 to 10 minutes to give them that overview, and then they will make an ask in terms of an investment. The Lions will then have another 8 to 10 minutes to ask questions, clarify the offer, and try to negotiate an agreed upon deal before the entrepreneur leaves the stage. Many of you have watched Shark Tank. This is a real live Shark Tank, but unlike the TV show where they film for over an hour to edit down the 8 or so minutes you see on the television show, this is going to happen in real time, in real life. So in 15 to 20 minutes, these entrepreneurs are going to try to convince these successful business people to open up their wallets and make an investment in their company. We're very excited by the 3 companies that have been selected today to present. And with that, I'm going to call up our first entrepreneur, hopefully not a piece of prey for the Lions, CellX, Ted Mann.
Thank you so much. Which way do I face? Do I face the Lions or do I face the audience? Okay. My name is Ted Mann. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Collects, the first app for being able to scan, value, and build your trading card and other collectibles and be able to transact them on a marketplace. Really honored to be up with this group. This is a group of amazing rock stars, and there's so many people in the audience that I've met today that are incredibly accomplished as investors, entrepreneurs, and so on. I would love to just take a second to start this by asking you all to just think back to the first time that you ever made $1. People in this audience have made a lot of money over the years, but think back to the first $1 that you ever made. Let's take a second. Got it? Yeah. I'm going to tell you about my first $1. It came when I was in 5th grade, and it came from trading cards. It came from these things. And I actually made a lot of money that year. I made about $100 on the school playground. And it was, this might be heresy saying this in Philadelphia, but this was the year of the '86 Mets. And I flipped those Mets cards so easily and made a lot of money really quickly. And it was, it was a great moment. I was very proud of that. Showed it off to my parents, and I think a lot of people have probably had their first entrepreneurial experience. I'll bet a lot of people here have learned a thing or two about entrepreneurship from those little pieces of cardboard. They're an enduring, prevalent form of collectibles. I bet a lot of you didn't know that that cards have actually outperformed the S&P 500 by about 2x over the last 25 years as an investment. And right now we're kind of in a golden age for trading cards. Soaring demand, skyrocketing values, cards selling for millions of dollars, and a little bit of tech disruption in the middle of it all, with companies like Fanatics getting into the trading card space. So, in this era, I've also been drawn back into it in a big way thanks to my 2 young boys. I have 2 young sons who got very interested in trading cards, became a little obsessed with trading cards. First Pokemon, and then they got into my old stash of sports cards. And we encountered a problem. And it's a problem that I had when I was a kid and that my kids started having, which is not knowing what the cards were worth. My 10-year-old son was the first one to have this problem where he was basically doing bad deals on the playground. And as I began this by telling you about how I made $100, the truth is my first few card deals were terrible, right? My dad got very mad at me for trading away his Mickey Mantle card for a Greg Jeffries rookie card, and I've never lived that down. But it taught me an important lesson, which is, and my dad taught me the lesson of, don't go out there and start dealing with these things unless you know what they're worth. Don't start making deals until you figure that out. So fast forward 30 years, my boys are making the same mistakes, and I wanted to help them, right? I told them the same thing that my dad told me, which is I'm not gonna go and unwind those bad trades, but I'm gonna help you make sure you don't make the same mistake twice. But it turns out there weren't really any good apps or tools to be able to help my kids figure out what their cards are worth. And this is a big problem in the trading card and collectible space, right? It's a problem for people who are trying to sell their cards. eBay right now is overwhelming. Beckett is still largely a printed guide that's not really solving the problem. And it's a problem for trading cards, stores and dealers as well. And so we came up with a solution. It started as a little side project for my son, and turned out that it was not just solving his problem, but solving the problem for millions of collectors. And that is an app called Collects. And basically the way the app works is you take a picture of any trading card. You can take a picture of the front or the front and the back. We'll instantly identify that card, return back the current average market value, and give you that quick, scratch that what's it worth itch. From there you can add the card to your collection, you can start building your collection, you can track the values of the cards over time. So that is the Collects app. It's been in the App Store since January. We now support, we started with sports cards, we now support a whole host of different card categories. I'll tell you more about the traction of the business in a sec. But let me start by explaining why did we start with sports cards. We did a little bit of market research at the outset. I was trying to understand, is this just, is this a small market? Is this a big market? How big can this get? And was surprised to learn that eBay currently sells about $5 billion worth of card singles in the secondary market. That's a bigger market than I thought it was. But then it turns out, we did a little research and realized that 33% of all American adults actually own sports cards, by far the most prevalent form of collectible. And yet only about 20% of those collectors have ever bought or sold a card on the secondary market, on an eBay or at a card show or a card store. So it turns out there's this opportunity to potentially expand the market quite dramatically. How do you expand it? All goes back to that same, solving that pricing problem, figuring out, what your cards are worth. That's the real trick to being able to unlock this market and get more people into the secondary market. So we think we can expand the market by about 2 to 3x. We can grow both the online market as well as the in-store secondary market. How are we going to do that? We're specifically going after the long tail of the market, right? So there are some great solutions for folks who have really high-end cards. There's auction sites, grading services that cater to the high end of the market. But there's this very big long tail of the market, and we're going to really go after that side of the market, appealing to folks who have raw cards, which really right now make up already about 87% of the cards sold on eBay. We're going to be going after that side. How do we make money? Three main revenue streams. We have a marketplace where you can buy and sell and transact with other collectors, and we take a 7% commission. We also are going to be introducing in December a pro tier. So the app is free, but we'll offer a pro tier for the power users. And then last, we have a software called Card Dealer Pro, which has been in the market for a few months, which is specifically geared at card stores and dealers. We have about 300 high volume dealers currently licensing this software. Some pretty, I don't know if any you know some of these names, but some Mile High Cards in Denver, Burbank Cards in LA, a bunch of other high-end dealers using that software. We built some great technology. I have a lot of experience in computer vision. I have had 3 prior startups, 2 exits in the computer vision space. And we built a great computer vision model to be able to identify and match the cards. We currently have about 20 million cards in our database, and we built really kick-ass iPhone and Android apps, which you can download in the App Store, as well as for Card Dealer Pro, a native Mac app. Oh crap, I'm running out of time. Go download the app. Our team has a ton of experience in this world of computer vision. We have about 15 people right now on the team, including a bunch of the great folks that I've worked with over the years. Got the band back together to build Collects. In the last 10 months, we've grown to 400,000 users on iPhone and Android. We've been in the top 10 in sports apps a handful of times. And we have some great ratings and reviews in the App Store, which you can go check out. In terms of traction, so far we've had 50 million cards scanned by our users to date. And since we started rolling out our marketplace features 2 months ago, we've done $20 million worth of accepted deals in the Collects marketplace. So we're on our way to building, taking a big bite out of eBay and hopefully expanding the market, creating a whole lot more Charlie Mans out there doing deals, and hopefully I'd like to kind of give my son the final word. So I'm going to play just one of the video clips of him talking a little bit about the Collects app.
Collects is an app that lets you scan sports cards to see how much they're worth.
Developed an app that was called Collect.
And it does the work for you and finds out what people are paying on average for cards like yours.
COLLX. And you can snap a photo of your cards and get the value in seconds.
You can just take a picture of any sports card ever. You press add card and it's going to the cloud right now and it's finding the most recent sale. And we tried everything, eBay, Beckett, but we just couldn't get the right prices. Thought, why not just build an app that when you take a picture of the card, it will show the average price of it. Right now, Collect scans baseball, basketball, football, hockey, and soccer. And in May, it's going to be scanning Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and wrestling.
I gotta get the app.
Thanks so much. I think I'm over on time, but I'm happy to take questions on investment and stuff.
What are you looking to raise and what's your ask?
Yes, so we raised an angel round, $1.5 million angel round. We were actually oversubscribed, so we took in 1.7 million. I hadn't been taking on any additional investors, but for this event, Anita Feeler, I was prepared to open up that round if any of you were interested in investing. We did that as a safe note with a $10 million valuation cap.
And discount onto the
A 20% discount.
So you're willing to open up that $1.7 million round to take additional
To take an additional 300,000.
All right, I'll turn it over to the Lions who may have some questions for you.
How much of the cash is still left of the 1.7?
600,000.
Okay.
And what's your burn rate?
Right now we're burning like 80 a month.
How much?
80,000.
And the 20 million of sales, so does that mean that there's been about 1.4 million of revenue in the first 10 months?
It's a great question. So we have not yet rolled out our checkout mechanism, right? So we are not yet collecting that 7% commission yet. We are going to be introducing that in the next couple of weeks. We kind of wanted to have the marketplace fully rock solid before we introduced the checkout and began taking people's money. So we would have a hypothetical revenue of that much, and so I in terms of the months ahead, we're going to be rolling that out in probably like mid-December, and then we'll start to generate the marketplace commissions immediately.
Got it. How long did it take to scan that $20 million worth of?
2 months.
2 months.
It's actually 25 million now, but yeah.
It's really remarkable that you've attracted 400,000 users in 10 months. What do you think it'll be in a year from now?
Yeah, so almost all of the user growth so far has just been organic, word of mouth. I mean, we've had some nice PR, which is good, but we're planning to be able to put a lot more money into user acquisition marketing, primarily via TikTok. We've done some test campaigns on TikTok just to get a baseline of what the user acquisition costs are. And our blended user acquisition cost on TikTok is about 30 cents.
How many users do you need to ensure that you have a buyer for most cards?
It's a great question. So we're hoping to get to 1 million active users by the end of this next year, by the end of 2023. And that's the point at which in our financial model, that's the point at which we're close to getting to profitability.
But the
How do you-
user doesn't pay anything.
Sorry?
Free download app, the user doesn't pay anything.
Correct.
How do you?
That's the plan to continue that way.
We're going to have the premium version, the Collects Pro. So for power users who want to be able to export their collection or be able to print checklists, featured listings, would pay $10 a month for that. We're going to be rolling that also out.
Can we just take that a step further for Byron's question? So in the future, there sounded like there would be a transactional layer, the 7%. You just haven't started it yet.
Right.
Is that
We haven't
still
rolled
the
out the
case?
Stripe checkout yet.
Okay. So if those 20 million users or $20 million worth of purchases actually occurred in the next 10 months, there would be 1.4 million?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Ted, how do you measure engagement? And based on your measures of engagement, how many of those 400 users are actually active users?
Great question. So right now it's about 150,000 are monthly active users, meaning they launched the app and did something, whether it was scanning a card, commenting, liking, having one of those other kind of key engagement metrics in the app. So it's about 150,000 monthly active users. And one of the big things that we're expecting is that we can be able to reactivate users who maybe just scanned in a bunch of cards, but once they start to see people transacting on them and making offers and buying, that's going to bring users back. And it has already, we've seen that in the early months of the deal experience on the app.
Why wouldn't PSA or someone like that come out with their own app and do this?
So, PSA, I guess, has an app. PSA, for anybody in the audience who doesn't know, is a company that grades cards, owned by a firm called Collectors Universe, or Collectors now. So we were in heavy talks with PSA about actually having Collects be a mechanism to submit cards to their grading service. But in terms of like building a Collects-like experience, I suppose they could. Nothing would be stopping them from that. But our focus on the sort of the long tail of the hobby, and especially raw cards, has, I think, set us apart. And something that they, at least in my discussions with them, they don't have an immediate intention to kind of go that route.
So you have about 6 months of cash left.
Yeah, about
What was your plan if you didn't do this to raise the next round?
I think we're just going to, as we roll out the marketplace features and we continue to get revenue, we'll look to do a seed round in the first quarter of next year.
And at that point, you think you'll have enough revenue to show the proper growth to do that?
Yes, I think we'll have a pretty compelling story. I mean, we already have I think a pretty compelling story insofar as, all of the accepted deals on the app. I mean, it's a pretty strong indicator of the potential revenue. At least that's what the investors that I've spoken to are looking at. But real revenue in the bank is an even better story.
And last question, when did you raise that initial angel round?
It's been, so we expanded the angel round because we had a bunch of investors, including, some folks in this room. Shout out to Ben Franklin and some of our other angel investors like Bob Moore and Brad Stadler, who wanted to re-up and put some more money in. Just to give us.
But I'm trying to figure out, was this based?
So we've done a handful of closes. So we did the initial close. I think it was like around March, and then we did a secondary close in August.
Okay, got it.
And do you have any data to show what the valuation, if this is successful, what peers are selling for?
Yes.
How are they valued?
Yeah. So marketplace applications like Poshmark, Poshmark in the secondary apparel space, StockX with sneakers. Typically, they're selling for like 1.5x GMV and 6x net revenue. Does that help? Does that answer the question?
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the audience?
Just one more.
Okay.
So on the premium, to me, the real money's in trying to get some kind of recurring revenue from the subscription base. So is there any thought to maybe bundling, buying wholesale cards that people can pick, paying a $5 or $10 a month fee to get different things to them through the premium so you can build a recurring revenue stream from that perspective?
We're definitely going to bundle a bunch of features into Collects Pro, right? So I mentioned a few of them already. I don't know if there's one in particular that you're thinking about, Ira, but we are expecting that the subscription revenue will be significant, right? In the first year, it's about half of our revenue between Collects Pro and Car Dealer Pro. And then, in years 2 and 3, the marketplace revenue and the commission revenue does overtake that and does become the dominant revenue stream. But in the initial year, we do expect it will be pretty significant. And, we have a lot of power users on the app that I think will be inclined to pay for it. We're only right now forecasting a relatively small percentage of our users paying for Collects Pro. I think we have it forecasted at 3%, but I think it could be much higher, in which case
And I assume the instrument is a senior preferred type instrument, sits above the common?
The current safe note
converts into what?
Is just that. It's just a safe note. But for the seed round, yes, we would do it as obviously.
They want us to come in under. He's proposing.
I want you to come in under the current safe.
He's proposing we come in under that original note.
But what does it convert into?
Yeah, what's the mechanism of conversion of the safe note?
Sorry, say again.
What is the mechanism of how it converts into equity of the safe note?
What's the mechanism that it converts? It'll be upon the next qualified financing. So
I'm sorry.
we'll do the plan right now that we have is is to do the next qualified financing, probably beginning of next year.
Yeah, he's not
So
answering
when
the
there's a
question.
qualified financing, the next savings note will convert if they meet the terms of a qualified financing, which is be his next round.
Automatically
Added
Automatically into that
at a
instrument.
Automatically.
20% discount.
So we actually
with
don't
a
know.
cap
Yeah,
of
we-
$10 million. So if the value is more than 12, you would hit the cap. If it's less than 12, you would be.
But with the 20% discount?
Yeah, up to the cap. I mean, if they priced around the 12 million, you would hit the cap even with the 20% discount.
So if it's priced at 6, it's a 20% discount to the 6?
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
So we've got about a minute left. This is where it gets interesting. Is there anyone who might be interested in partaking in the reopening of the round that Ted is suggesting?
How much would you take right now?
We take an additional 300,000, take it to an even 2 million.
You want to split it? David, you want to split it?
I'm good for 100.
I'll do
Okay.
100.
That's 200. There's potentially another 100 available if anyone is interested.
I'll do 50.
50, all right.
All right. This is intense.
This is going once, going twice. All right.
All right.
50,000. Not
Thank you,
bad.
gentlemen. Thank you so much.
So Ted made that look pretty easy. It wasn't too difficult, I guess. Well, now we're going to invite our second entrepreneur up to enter the Lion's Den. The company is Hey Kiddo, Nicole Lipkin.
What did you say? Hi, it's so great to be here. My name is Dr. Nicole Lipkin, and I'm the founder and CEO, and I'm really honored. I'd like to start by telling you a story. Imagine Kate, a 38-year-old mom who's feeling completely helpless and overwhelmed with how to help her 9-year-old son, Duncan. Duncan came home from school that day with an assignment where, in response to the writing prompt, "What makes you special?" he said, "Nothing, I'm a terrible person." Duncan's been struggling with low self-esteem, negative self-talk, and anxiety for quite a while now. But the waiting list to get into a therapist is over 6 months long. Kate is desperate. And this is actually a true story from one of our users who got the support she needed with the Hey Kiddo app, which is an app that provides parents with the support they need to help their children with their mental, social, and emotional health. But unfortunately, Kate is not alone in her struggle, and neither is Duncan. The stats on the childhood mental health crisis are absolutely staggering. Right now, 1 in 5 children is diagnosed with a mental health disorder in the United States. And we saw a 24% increase in mental health emergency room related visits in the wake of the pandemic among 5 to 10-year-olds. We know that early intervention is absolutely critical. It can be the difference between a positive, healthy course in life and a potentially chilling outcome like suicide. Despite all the information, despite what we know, only 20% of children actually get the mental health support that they need. And I know this firsthand. I've been a clinical and organizational psychologist for over 20 years. This is why I founded Hey Kiddo, to help stop this crisis. And I'm in a unique position to scale this company. I owned, scaled, and exited one of the largest mental health psychology practices in the Philadelphia region. I've written 2 popular business books. I consult with Fortune 100 leaders across the globe. But my most important job is being a mom to my son, Charlie. And I am scared for his future. I am scared for the future of all of our children. Our kids are in trouble, and the mental health system is broken. This is not a hair on fire issue. This is an inferno. And this is where Hey Kiddo comes in. Hey Kiddo is a parent coaching app.
that gives parents and caretakers who have children between the ages of 5 to 12 the tools that they need to help support their children's mental, social, and emotional health beyond what kids receive in schools or therapy practices or in the community, if they're receiving anything at all. Here's how it works. A parent takes our proprietary mental health assessment looking at problematic behaviors, troublesome behaviors that can occur in a child's life, like depression or anxiety or body image issues, and also looks at challenging life events that can happen in a child's life that can impact their mental health, like divorce or bullying or loss. So let's say mom is using our app, and she's noticing that her kiddo is having a lot of negative self-talk and is also being bullied in the classroom. She can select those on her assessment, and Hey Kiddo is gonna put her on a personalized coaching pathway that's gonna do 3 things. First of all, it's gonna give her the education to understand what negative self-talk looks like and the impact, and what the impact of bullying can have on her 5-year-old child versus a 7-year-old versus a 10-year-old. It's also gonna give her the tools that she needs to open up the lines of communication with her kiddo based on what she's seeing. And most importantly, it's gonna give mom the tools that she needs to model the positive behaviors and skills that she's trying to build in her kid. Hey Kiddo is also gonna help mom track emotional and behavioral patterns that she's seeing. And most importantly, it's gonna red flag her if outside professional help is needed. Basically, Hey Kiddo is a parent pocket coach that gives parents and caretakers the tools that they need to help support their children's mental, social, and emotional health. I am surrounded by an amazing team. We've all been working together for quite a while. We are a group of seasoned psychologists, therapists, software developers, content creators, designers, and together as a team, we've been awarded 2 National Science Foundation grants, and this year we were the 2022 second place Milk and Pen winners in the Milk and Pen competition. Thank you. We also have amazing and very active strategic advisors who complement our team with their expertise in operations, technology, marketing, and also product management and mental health policy. We just completed our app MVP research, and we had phenomenal results. Parents who used our app experienced an increase in parenting confidence, and they also saw improvement in their children's mental, social, and emotional health. These early results were incredibly validating, and it really shows the impact that we can have on families and children. With regard to our business and pricing model, we're first starting with a direct-to-consumer model at $20 a month, a subscription. We'll be pressure testing that price point when we go into beta testing scheduled for Q1 2023. And the way we're gonna reach parents and caretakers is through a partnership, conference, and social strategy. So for the past year, we've been doing a ton of marketing research, and more importantly, a ton of customer discovery to figure out the pathway that a parent takes when they're seeking help for their child, when they're noticing mental health issues. We're gonna follow that pathway in order to build our brand awareness and market and sell to parents and caretakers. Although we're starting with a direct-to-consumer model, in order to scale, we're gonna be implementing a B2B model and potentially a B2B2C model. And we're gonna do this by selling through and partnering with schools and government agencies to get more access to parents and caretakers, but importantly, to also get Hey Kiddo into the hands of families that may not have the means to afford an app like this. In terms of our traction, as I mentioned, we're going into beta testing Q1 2023. And with that, we're gonna be accessing our growing wait list of 1,200 plus parents, which we actually grew very quickly in a couple of months. We also have 2 paid pilots set at this point. Our first paid pilot is with a school district in New Jersey, and our second is with the Department of Intellectual Disabilities in a region in Louisiana. We're also talking with other government agencies and other school districts, including Broward County in Florida, which has over 300,000 families. In terms of our competitive analysis, we differentiate in 4 ways. We differentiate through our proprietary assessment, our red flagging system, our age-specific adaptive content, and also the way we're doing the emotional and behavioral tracking. The really good news is that 2 of our competitors have been acquired over the last couple of years. It's showing how interesting this market is right now and the viability of this market. With regard to our financials, we're looking to launch mid-year 2023, and we're projecting $150,000 in revenue, growing to $1.7 million in 2024 and breaking even in 2025. And with regard to our ask, we're looking to raise $1 million. 750 of that million is to get us to and beyond launch with our tech build, the security, the content, and really importantly, the research. And also that includes the initial marketing spend. The remaining 250 is to build out our B2B team and to execute the initial stages of our B2B strategy. Our mission is clear. Reverse the childhood mental health crisis by giving parents and caretakers the tools they need to help support their children's mental, social, and emotional health. If we can empower the Kates and Duncans of this world, we can stop this inferno, and I hope that you'll join me. Thank you.
Nicole, you've mentioned that you're looking to raise $1 million.
Yep.
Have you thought about what that ask would look like? What kind of terms?
Yeah, a $7 million cap with a 20% discount.
So a convertible note.
A safe.
A safe, another safe. Okay, so $7 million cap and a 20% discount. And did you mention, just for, I think the Alliance, you said there was some type of match you've been awarded, that if you're able to raise this, how does that work?
Well, we just finished applying for our phase 2 National Science Foundation grant, which was absolutely grueling. If we get that grant, they also do a match of up to $500,000, and that's non-dilutive funding, all of the NSF.
So if you were able to raise the $1 million and got this award, which you don't have the award yet. Okay.
We just
so we'll just,
submitted it,
we'll
so
just
it'll be
focus
about
on the
6
million.
months.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Lions?
How much money has been put into the company to date?
Great question. So like I said, we have won 2 National Science Foundation grants. The first grant was the first evolution of Hey Kiddo. The second grant, which was 257, was for what we're building right now, and it was 225 for the first grant. In addition, with that psychology practice, that was funding Hey Kiddo before I exited. So I've matched that amount to help build the different iterations of where we're landing today and where we can have the most impact.
So no other outside investors?
I have not, no, just NSF. We've been just doing grant funding to this point. So this is the first time going out and raising.
And you haven't raised any of the million yet, like you're...
No, we literally just started. I'm getting over the trauma of an NSF grant that was just submitted in October. So now we're going out actively and raising.
And did I understand that you want to do both the B2C and B2B at the same time?
So here's what we're thinking. If we can start with a B2C, it's going to help us understand. It's going to help us understand the consumers. But B2B, which is going to be for consumers, is going to get us more access. And that's why we're looking at partnering with schools and selling through schools and government agencies. But that B2C part, that's really getting us, helping us understand the people that are going to use it and adapt. So yes.
And this is your full-time job? You're no longer doing your practice?
I exited the practice. I do consulting. I do leadership development, executive coaching. And I will tell you how that complements. So this business has always existed in the middle of the practice of the business that I exited and this consulting company. That consulting company gets me in front of big decision makers. So we are consulting to companies as large as Google and small little startups. But it gets me, and an example of that was I recently was connected to a hospital system in Colorado looking for that work. And they have won a massive grant to go fix the mental health problem in the rural community in Colorado. We started talking, the CEO and I started talking while we were waiting for other people to get on the phone, and he's connected me with that person running the grant because they need support and help. So there's a complementary relationship between the two. So I am still doing it.
Nicole, how often do the parents coach their child?
You know, Our goal is to get parents engaged to do it daily. This is not, parenting is a 24/7 thing. And if parents can learn the skills, again, one of the most important parts of this app is to give parents the skills so they're modeling the behavior and helping themselves too. So every day.
Do you think this is going to be in lieu of a therapist or supplementing a therapist?
We'd never look to replace a therapist at all. There's nothing like one-on-one. This is to supplement and also to give access to people that might not want to go to therapy. I will tell you, one of the things I learned and one of the reasons why I exited my psych practice to focus on this was, unfortunately, traditional mental health care tends to be culturally and socioeconomically insensitive. Not every family can afford to take an hour out of their week to go bring their child in, and once a week is not necessarily going to do it. Not every family can afford the copays. There still is not mental health parity, even though we're saying there is. And not every family trusts it.
I'm an investor in about 6 behavioral health software companies, and one of the big issues is adherence. The patient will go to the therapist, but drop out after a month or 2 or less.
Yes.
How will you encourage the parents to do this for months and years?
So we are working very hard to figure out what is an ethical way to keep parents engaged. It has to be ethical. We have to be careful about this. We don't want to do just bells and whistles for the sake of bells and whistles. What is going to really help develop? We think, and again, we're going to be testing this and adapting. We think that the ability to track emotional and behavioral patterns and then see that progress could really be what helps engage parents. We're not looking to have parents on a phone for hours a day. It's 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes and then get off your phone and talk and open up the lines of communication. That's the goal. But that is going to be the challenge, as with every app, is engagement.
Is the way to think about this that the $1 million is really to prove the concept?
Is what?
To prove your concept, right? Like, to see if it works, see if people sign up. I guess what I'm trying to figure out from a scale perspective, let me say, I think you're tackling a space that people are sensitive to, care about, and all that, so I want to commend you on that.
Thank you.
But, we're capitalists, right? So, I am a capitalist, I think we all are. So, my question to you is, proving it is one thing, and, in ventures, making a bet. But what I can't figure out is, what do you need to raise next to scale the business to get this to, we all like recurring revenue businesses, and the $20 a month is great. The question is, how big does this get, and what kind of resources do you need besides the 3 therapists that you had on the screen?
Absolutely. The resources we're going to need is to build out that B2B team and have expertise in school districts, have expertise in government agencies. For example, we're trying to get in the foster care system, Department of Intellectual Disabilities, military families. When you think about how big this can be and how many people this can help, this is big. So that's why that B2B is the way we scale. And I'd like to start that sooner than later. That's why we have the 2 paid pilots during our beta testing, so we can figure out what the model looks like.
If you fail to red flag a child that needs to be referred to a licensed clinician, what liability do you have?
It's a great question. So I will say our attorney has been working with us from day one. Because we're licensed psychologists, we are thinking about the ethics and legal issues obsessively. We are not doing telehealth. We don't have live people. And we are being extremely conservative in our recommendations for therapy or an emergency room or something like that. The reason why mental health issues escalate is often because parents don't know the signs, and why would they? So we want to be as conservative as possible and recommend, hey, definitely go see a psychologist or a therapist, or go to the emergency room immediately. You're saying your child's having suicidal ideation. So what we've actually done is studied the psychology law in every state and had the attorney work with us very closely to study what the law is and how to deliver this stuff. That's why we're being very careful with what we're delivering versus making this a telehealth app. There's enough out there with telehealth, but that's also not scalable. Did I answer your question?
You did.
Okay.
All right. We've got a little bit of time here, but so you're just starting the process.
Starting.
So you haven't secured any capital yet. You're looking to raise the $1 million.
It looks like you'll need all of that to kind of execute on the plan, right?
So, we have been pretty amazing at stretching funds. You know, you don't get that much with NSF. So we've been pretty amazing at stretching funds, and this team has worked together and a lot over than what they're being paid. So I'm looking at it in my mind, I kind of have tranches. Like I have like 250 is going to, I'm kind of seeing it that way. So I think we can do a lot if we're looking at it little levels. I think, but again, the B2B is going to take, that's going to take some investment. And the technology, the MVP is built. We're wrapping in and automating right now the stuff that we've learned from the research we did with the MVP.
Gotcha. So Lions, I'll turn to you. Is anyone interested in potentially looking at this investment opportunity?
I would just say from my perspective, like I said, I commend you on the problem you're trying to solve, and I think it's a huge problem. For me, I tend to invest in places where, aside from capital, I can add value with relationships and introductions, and candidly, I just wouldn't be of value to you in this instance. Like, it's a much bigger topic, so
Thank you.
I'm going to respectfully pass.
Good luck with it.
I'm passionate about this, and I really believe part of the solution is in parents, and it's in this as a lifetime potential of building that relationship and trust between parent and child. At the same time, you haven't proved that much yet, and so $7 million is a pretty steep valuation. That's really the next round valuation, and there needs to be something lower. I'm passionate enough that I would invest about $200,000 if you would drop the valuation in half.
In half.
So a cap of the 20% discount of a cap of $3.5 million, and you would invest $200,000.
I would match that too.
$200,000 at that cap. So that's 400. So that's 40% of your rounds.
It's big.
We're running out of time.
And I have to say that.
3.
Oh.
You're gonna.
I met Nicole today. Hold this up. I met Nicole today. She told me what she was doing. I have 2 kids that they've got everything. All of it. I can't match whatever you guys are going to match, but I'll put money if you guys put money.
Okay, what's up to Nicole? Nicole, you have an offer. If you're willing to take their terms, you have $400,000 on the table.
And these are talkable terms?
These are what?
Are these talkable terms? Are you willing to negotiate a little bit?
Are you willing to negotiate, or is it a take or to leave it with the 3.5, John?
No.
Can I just make one other comment? One thing I'd ask you to think about, dividing your time between your practice and this business, you know, I don't consider that alignment of interest. If you have a bad day in your practice, but yet your company is suffering and you have to be over here, the company suffers. So you're not really aligning your investors with yourself. I know you're doing it in a positive, constructive way, but one suggestion, if you can value it, is not contingent upon our offer, but you want to think about a way to roll the practice into the business so that you're 100% dedicated and aligned to the company. You'll get a better reaction from professional investors if you do that.
I agree. And the psych practice is sold. I exited that. I agree. And I also know that some of this has to go eventually as we scale to bringing the right people in and supporting. Let's talk, yeah.
So that's not a yes from your part. That's fine. Look, it's your, but my job is to keep the show moving. So it's a yes or no to you.
You want to let her think about it? Call us. You want to let her think about it? Call us.
They're talking.
Let her sleep on it.
I'm sorry?
We're under pressure.
They're talking?
Yeah, we'll leave it there.
You can pick it up with them. You want to say no for now and potentially take it
Can
up?
I say an absolute almost yes?
We'll give you that. We'll give you an absolute almost yes. We'll have to ask the lawyers what that means, but thank you.
So I'll have to ask the attorneys afterwards what an absolute almost yes is, whether that's fine or not. We'll see. Well, great. Thank you. And you're really addressing a great cause, Nicole. Thank you for that. So now our last presenter, the Lions seem to be in a very generous mood today. We're potentially 2 for 2. But we'll now invite our third entrepreneur up this morning, ConConnect, Andre Pert. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hey, thank you.
Pleasure to be here today. Happy to meet all of you gentlemen. My name is Andre Pert. I'm the founder and CEO of ConConnect, and we're a justice technology platform. 650,000 people get released from prison in the U.S. every year. 7 million people get released from jail every year in the U.S. After doing 5 years in a New York State prison, I was released with $40, a piece of paper, and a bus ticket to a shelter. And that's what reentry looks like in the United States in 2018. Eventually, that landed me in front of a caseworker handling all my needs with sticky notes, spreadsheets, Google Forms, and I had to sit in a shelter for 273 days before I actually got services to take me to the next level. Because I really couldn't wait, I landed back in jail like the guy in the picture for a whole nother year. 54% of those individuals of the numbers that I just mentioned are going to go back to prison within 2 years in the US. 31% of the 650,000 every year are going to remain unemployed in the United States. After that experience, going through that experience and actually having ex-caseworker and ex-social worker experience, I came up with a solution which would be the first professional networking platform for formerly incarcerated individuals. And what this does is connect them to jobs, services, healthcare, banking in real time through a technology app once they're released from prison. What we did next was made a seamless and safe platform for employers for them to get on and post jobs. So think of it, we'll use an example of Bank of America. If they were to join our platform and post a job for a bank teller, it wouldn't connect them with a bank robber on our platform. We've also taken caseworkers off of spreadsheets and brought them to using technology to do client management, intakes, and everything else that they do in their day-to-day tasks, increasing their organization productivity by 10% with our MVP and enhancing client outcomes in 7 states by 33%. Pennsylvania being one of those states that we're enhancing client outcomes in. Our business model is quite simple. We have an implementation fee for caseworker-driven organizations, and when I say that, I don't like to think just nonprofits. We're talking shelters, justice institutions, mental health institutions, and all of nonprofits. We charge them per user billed annually. Then we charge employers a freemium model unlimited job post, $10 per applicant, or a headhunter fee where they can work with somebody from my team for 10 to 15% of that first year's salary. For correctional facilities, we charge a $500 to $1,000 implementation fee by the size of the correctional facility, then a monthly usage fee ranging from $500 to $1,000. Our competitors are Honest Job and Indeed, and all they do for formerly incarcerated individuals is get them a job. On Indeed, there really is no luck for an individual like me because I'm going to get denied like I did in real life by seven employers. Honest Jobs only caters to jobs, and somebody like me doing 5 years in prison, you give me a job, I'll probably still go back to prison. I need banking, I need a house, I need mental health, I need all the services in one place. Our market strategy has always been cold calling, email, traditional methods, and now we are deployed on 600,000 tablets inside correctional facilities since they have adopted technology as of 2015. LinkedIn has also been a very, very good method for us too as well. Some traction in early adopters is we've sold to the city of Yonkers and actually the whole county of Westchester, New York. We have Lowe's, Home Depot, Cox Enterprise, Aventiv, which is the largest technology prison provider that is now contracted with us for nearly $500,000. We've been on CNN, News 12, and I just graduated Techstar Social Impact Atlanta. We have 525 committed to our pre-seed round of $850,000 on a 7.5 safe. Our milestones is 250 organizations, 250 employers. We've already entered 3 correctional facilities, so we're bumping that up to 5 to 7 correctional facilities, and we're estimating $1.3 million revenue for the year of 2023. We're closing out this year estimated with about $175 in revenue, and we just started business in April of this year as well. The use of funds will be majority team, product, and then legal and customer acquisition. It's me. We're a team of 3.5. It's me and my co-founder. We have 10 years incarcerated, 6 years battling reentry, corporate sales, ex-caseworker, and operations leads. So today what we're looking for is an additional $325,000 to take us to the next level, help us expand it to some more high incarceration states, and convert other states using our technology. Thank you for your time.
Andre, just to make sure I clarify the ask, you were looking to raise 850,000. You're saying you've already secured 525 of that?
Yes, I have.
And so you're looking to raise the other 325, and you're doing it through a safe?
7.5 mil.
With 7.5 million cap, and is there a discount?
20%.
20% discount if into the conversion in the next round. Great, thank you. I'll now turn it over to the Lions.
What did you say your revenue will end up in 22 this year?
We're going to close at like 175, hopefully 200,000.
For your pilot customers that you have right now, what's the average contract value?
So we've ranged different kind of pilots. So let's say an employer pilot average about $10,000 for 3 months, and that's severely discounted, right? Just to get honestly, just to be transparent, just to say, hey, hire these formerly incarcerated people, and for us, the more value is the feedback and how they use the platform, how we can make it safer, which is how we came up with the technology to have the job postings navigate to people that don't have those backgrounds that conflict with it.
Can you explain the part where a correctional facility would pay you guys?
Definitely.
Is that in their mandate right now to help people find work on the way out?
It is as of 2 years ago now, with all those changes made. So now private and public prisons they're profitizing, right, off people going into prison, right? However it is, they now have to put money into re-entry and pre-release. They're not agile, let's be transparent. I'm in the room with a lot of these companies. I mean, Aventa, the biggest providers. They're not agile enough to figure out what happens after people are released. What do we really need to do for them? What software needs to be invented? And that's why we're having great traction right now in this first year. So yeah, there's a lot of revenue and a lot of money to be made from the prison systems.
Can you describe the ideal employer that you're selling to?
Yeah, so we came into this thinking it was going to be the AT&Ts, the Verizons of the world, and stuff like that. And some of those people are our clients, but that's not our client. Is really mid-market, 300 to 1,000 employer, and it's those places you've never heard of. It's those pizza shops you see only in Virginia or Tennessee. It's those places we have great traction with as we're unlocking the doors for other companies and helping them, like we just did with Cox Enterprise. We helped them develop their second chance hiring plan because this is the topic of discussion always in corporations. So now we're thinking we can do this for other corporations too as well, develop their whole strategy and plan. Since the Department of Justice, they're considering ConConnect the leaders in the space right now.
Does the inmate remain in your database for the rest of their employment life, and are employers interested after they've proved themselves perhaps on one job that there's a whole larger market for the second job?
So how we think of like user engagement and users on the platform, one, we're getting them from when they're incarcerated to when they're out, and then even if they do get a job with one employer, they're still always coming back to our app user engagement because we offer health insurance, banking, all these different things. Then next on our roadmap in March is upskilling, providing educational courses for upskilling where they can now, employers can say, oh wow, they got Amazon certificates and all these stuff, and then employ them or bring them up into a higher position within the job.
What's the burn rate?
So as of right now, only 8,000. There's only 3 of us. And just another thing, none of the money we've raised, we're not spending any. We're still running off $270,000 worth of grants right now that we received.
And do you have the ability to have content so that when you suggest an inmate for a certain company, you track it? You track how successful or unsuccessful that inmate was, draw some similarities in your database, and be able then to charge a higher price for an employer where you use your data over a period of time to try to get the right qualifications that you're looking for. It's just try to learn from the history and enhance value.
Yeah, we're going to do that over a 3-year period, so exactly what you just mentioned. But what we're doing to be able to charge employers a higher price actually very soon is employers need to be able to connect with nonprofits or their community, and they have an obligation to do that now. So through our technology, they can connect with nonprofits in their community and hire the nonprofits' clients. So the CSR loves it and the talent acquisition team loves it. So it's a double benefit, double win for them.
And where are you physically located?
We have an office in New York City and an office in Atlanta. Pennsylvania is our second largest market though. We focus on high incarceration states. This is one of them.
Are you planning on finding a chief technology officer or chief product officer?
Yeah, so we just brought on an advisor CTO who has 2 exits from Better Cloud and Cloud Sherbert, who's now working with us. And then Amazon, we did their accelerator program. They invested in us and also they sit on our company as our advising CTO and architect for 2 years. So they're the ones building V2 of our current app now.
Does Amazon get ownership of any way
Not
in
at
doing
all.
that? So
It's
just
a program. Yeah, it's a big program
pro
for
bono.
represented founders.
And so just curious, the money that you've raised to date, I don't want names or anything, but were those from high net worth individuals, strategics,
I
or?
can give names. Some of them are actually Juno Capital, Decarceration Fund, which are both in Pennsylvania, Overline Ventures, and then we're in final due diligence with actually the state of New York City's partnership fund. And
Right.
3 angels. The 3 angels are like a judge, a correctional officer, and a lawyer.
Great. All right.
Do most inmates take advantage of job skill training within the prison system?
They actually do. It's just not enough of it, to be transparent, right? There's just not enough, and now that there's technology in the prison system, there's a big need for more of that on the app versus them just listening to like Drake's new album.
And you mentioned providing health insurance and banking options. Do you have partners that you've signed up? Like, is there a bank that's saying they'll take these accounts, et cetera? So how does that work?
So how we do it currently right now, think of all the resource providers and like health insurance providers or banking providers get on our app and they post their banking services and our users go directly to that person. How we're going to do it in 3 to 6 months to make more revenue off of it, is just integrate with the healthcare providers and be the referral maker ourselves. Then we're going to do that with, like, for example, Mastercard Visa, brand our logos on it, and be the referral makers ourselves. That's in our roadmap for in 6 months.
Got it. Okay. Any additional questions? So you've raised $525. You're looking to potentially raise another $325 from this group or others. The Safe Note, you said, had a $7.5 million cap with a 20% discount. So I'll turn to the Lions and see if there's any interest.
Can I just ask one more? Sure. How long have you been raising for?
Just started raising in about June.
So I'll go. I said earlier that I only invest in things where, relationships or we can add value. One of my best friends started something called the Reform Alliance, which takes formerly incarcerated people that are on parole.
Oh, we know them very well. We're doing a job fair with them next week.
All right, good. So I think we could help there. I'm thinking about political relationships and things like that. This is a great program for governments to implement, to kind of do it. So, I don't know if anyone else is going in, but I'm in for at least 100, but I'll make sure you leave here today with your round filled.
Thank you.
I'll do 100 as well.
Thank you.
Great. It's 200. Anyone else interested? That's pretty good, though, for not bad for 20 minutes, right?
Not bad at all.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck, Andre. So thank you all for partaking in the Lion's Den, and one more round of applause for our Lions. Before we all head out, I'd ask everyone to just wait a couple minutes. Just a few things, a few housekeeping items we want to do and take care of. But before we start with that, I want to call up Paul Marvel. Paul is the managing partner of RSM and co-sponsor of this session. Has been the co-sponsor for many years now. So give a round of applause for Paul.
Thank you, Mark, and a fantastic job by all the presenters. I speak for most everyone in this room. We were on the edge of our seat hearing everything, and it's great to see the investments that folks here are doing to have the impact on their strategy going forward. We look forward to hearing their future success. RSM, to steal a phrase that was used, absolutely yes, is delighted to be a sponsor here. It's every year we look forward to this. And we look forward to next year. We do want to congratulate Dean and his team. Fantastic job again. And I also had the pleasure to introduce Sylvester Mobley. Sylvester is Plain Sight Capital, but also a very talented chairman of the board for PACT, and he has a special announcement. Sylvester?
Thank you. So unfortunately, Dean couldn't be here tonight, so I'm standing in for him as the chair of PACT. I first just want to thank all of you for being here. It's really good to see a lot of familiar faces, but also unfamiliar faces. It's good to see people coming back. We're getting in-person events rolling. People are happy. They're having a good time. Make connections. If you see faces you don't know, please introduce yourselves, get to know people. Also want to just give a round of applause and congratulate the 3 people who just pitched. Anyone who's had to pitch before knows how difficult it is. You know, I was having a conversation with someone right before this where I made the comment, I have pitched for years and I pitch all the time and still get nervous every time I pitch. So, you know, I don't want that to be lost on the 3 people who just pitched. On behalf of PACT, we're excited to announce our 2023 Capital Conference host, which is Troutman Pepper, co-chaired by Chris Miller and Tom Dwyer. So that's all I have. Also want to thank our sponsors for the Capital Conference. Without them, the Capital Conference would not be what it is. So thank you to our sponsors. And I want to bring Andy and Ryan back up to, they have a few, Andy, is it just you? Okay, so, all right. Andy's going to close it out. Thank you.
So Mark, thank you very much for getting together this all-star cast of investors, and thanks all you guys for coming. It really demonstrates the deepness of the emerging growth ecosystem here in Philly, so thank you very much again. So real quickly, on behalf of KPMG, on behalf of PACT, and on behalf of the steering committee, thanks to all of you for coming. Hope you had a productive day, and right now we'll invite you to a little reception out back that's sponsored by our friends at NewSpring and our friends at Eisner Amper. So thank you very much for coming. Great day. And we'll see all of you soon.
Thank you guys again for doing this. Really appreciate it. Investor, thank you.
Always good seeing you, Mark.
Thank you for doing